I had the honor of talking to my very own nurse manager who goes by Z. We work at a long-term acute care hospital here in New Jersey. Z has been with our hospital for 6 years. 3 of her years were as a floor RN, 2.5 years as a nursing supervisor, and now she's 3 months into her new role as being nurse manager. First of all, you need your RN license in the state of New Jersey, your MSN degree in nursing management, your bachelor's in business is preferred but not required, 5 to 6 years of nursing experience, and it's a bonus if you have your CNML, Certified Nurse Manager and Leader Certificate. Z is currently pursuing this certification as we speak. Z states that she had to provide 3 letters of recommendation from past employers and 1 letter from her MSN instructor. Qualifications for a nurse manager on a more personal level of things, Z says that our nursing director, Kim, who interviewed her, was looking for someone with very strong leadership skills, impeccable communication skills, and a desire to know about the LTAC business. Z said the LTAC business side was very important to Kim as our LTAC is an employee-owned business, which requires some desire on the manager's part to put effort into the business because it's partially theirs. Z states that the training for her new position as nurse manager was a total of 4 weeks long. This was unique to her because normally, someone not coming from within, the training time would be 8 weeks. 2 weeks of in-classroom training on the hospital informatics, and then the rest of orientation is on the floor with the nursing director as your preceptor. For Z's training, she said she did 2 weeks in the classroom, 5 days a week. She said they went over quality and cost control for all the hospital supplies. They covered how to budget and perform payroll for staff nurses, how to perform interviews, hospital views, values, and goals, and then asked her to create 3 goals on how she plans to make and or keep these goals a reality in the hospital. The last day of orientation in the classroom, Z said, was her favorite day because they covered motivation and management of staff nurses. Z says this is ultimately why she chose to take this position. She cares about us, the staff nurses, so much and wanted more power to be able to make a difference for us. After all the classroom work, the next 2 weeks she was out on the floor with our nursing director, Kim, who was overseeing and assisting her perform all her new management duties. I asked Z what the most challenging obstacle that she's currently dealing with as a nurse manager is. She says that her current issue is staffing. We have a very high census right now in our hospital, and we do not nearly have enough nurses, PCTs to do our job to the best of our ability. She states that she has been staying late, taking on other roles like supervisor and staff RN just to keep us afloat. Because of all this going on, she says we're losing our expert nurses. She states she feels like there is little understanding of this from the higher ups in the hospital because they're not assisting her in filling the gaps, which is causing her great stress. Without help from the other hospital representatives, Z feels like she's already failing as a new nurse manager as team morale is very low, including her own. One way to overcome this roadblock with current staffing issues is to focus on retaining the staff that we have. Not only will this effort have to come from our nurse manager, Z, but she's going to need help from the supervisors, directors, and even the higher up reps, as the changing role of nurse manager, having more duties than ever before, it's guaranteed that she's going to need help from everyone. There needs to be a change that allows her to have more time on the floor with staff, as this is where patient care occurs, which is the core of nursing. An interesting role to look into to add to our hospital would be a CNL, a clinical nurse leader. This would not take the place of the nurse manager, but the CNL would work collaboratively with Z. Specifically, the CNL's work will consist of coaching and mentoring inexperienced staff, guiding the clinical team by encouraging professional development, providing continuing education, and promoting clinical excellence. The CNL can basically be thought of as a motivation representative that is there on the floor to support the staff, which is exactly what our hospital needs right now. This would require the hospital itself to put investments into helping assist and retain the future of its own nursing leaders and managers like Z. Z's personal opinion on building an effective healthcare team is 2 words: communication and empowerment. She says we all need to communicate honestly and effectively with each other and support, motivate, recognize, and fuel each other's skills in order to work efficiently together. Recognizing when staff is distressed can be an effective strategy to keep in mind to avoid unneeded conflict which could harm the healthcare team. Another method for a nurse manager is to be a role model for all staff in how they should communicate with each other, keeping in mind as manager to make sure that the staff feels that they are heard. Have staff meetings, be approachable, and listen to what's being said on the floor. A few important skills a more experienced nurse needs to master are critical thinking, communication, and mentorship. Critical thinking is a lifelong skill that always needs to be on the up. As a more experienced nurse, you'll need to come up with new ideas for situations that come up where you need to pull the wealth of information and make critical decisions that could have to do with patients or staff conflict. An experienced nurse must master conveying the information efficiently and accurately, but most importantly, ensuring that the listener received the information correctly. That is what they must master for communication. Mentorship, a mentor to all staff, grooming experienced nurses, ensuring the hospital team missions are met, retaining new nurses, being a role model and mentor to uphold the future of nursing is a skill that an experienced nurse must have. I honestly don't know how Z does what she does at our facility. With all that she's told me about the census and the non-active involvement or sense of caring from the higher-ups, I can almost see the burnout on her face. Coming into a position as she did with the hopes of uplifting staff is showing to not be a reward of hers thus far, which is unfortunate and not what she signed up for. Her role consists of a business side, patient, inventory, and staff side. Her plate is completely full, and I can 100% say that at this point, seeing and hearing from my first nurse manager that I've encountered thus far in my career, that I do not aspire to be in her role. I do aspire to uplift a team of nurses like she does, but with everything else that comes with the position of nurse manager, at least in my current LTAC hospital, I do not want this role to be mine.